Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to a race reaction video, and we have a crazy Daytona Supercross to talk about here. Before we jump into it, just want to thank all of our sponsors here, so I'll quickly give you the rundown. Complete Racing Solutions, 50 Graphics, TLR Coatings, Holster Coat, Gutter Worx, and Issac Nelson Designs. Links in the description down below. Thanks to all of them for being on board. And thanks to all of you for tuning in here for our race reaction videos here. So we'll wrap this up fairly quickly because, well, there was a lot that happened. There was a lot of not happening tonight also. We'll fire right off with the 450s. And look, the beast got caged, okay? I sent out a text after that heat race that, Jett just caged the beast. I got shot down very hard by both Justin and Cole. Hello, hold your horses. No, it's not that, blah, 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 whatever. And about 15 minutes into that main event, I started to receive texts from Cole of, well, this is a regular old ass whooping here. I mean, Jett came out and he was on a mission. And talk about a crazy start to his race with them not getting the button locked down, not getting the tire thing off. I mean, that was almost a disaster there. Now, I'm confused as to why we even have the tire covers on. When you put the tire on the bike, take damn tire cover off. Carry the bike to the starting line. It's just that simple. That's what they do in MXGP. I've seen it. It happens. That's what happens. So I think that's something that those guys need to work out there. Hasn't been something we've seen a lot of here in AMA, but recently the guys have kind of discovered that, oh, we should do that. We should do that. Keep the tires clean. So that's something they need to work out. But, man, just to sit on that gate with them literally twisting the rear end of your bike around there seconds before the gate drops, and then to yank a top 5 start and then just start putting in the work and off you went. Man, he got a BOGO there with passing Eli and then passing into the lead. And, yeah, that was just, I mean, that was the kind of Jett ride that we've kind of expected to see all year, was Jett just dominating everyone. And that's what happened. Now, Eli and Chase both talked about not doing the quad and how that might have been their downfall. Was it? Maybe, probably. There's probably going to be a lot of pointing to that because that did make that seem faster. But in all reality, a lot of what I think is Jett just made the least amount of mistakes. There was a track that you can make a ton of mistakes on very, very quickly and lose a lot of time all in one lap and gain it all back the next. Jett minimized that and made it happen. So that's awesome. I heard this week that we're kind of just delaying the inevitable here with all the kind of different issues that Jett's been having and things like that. And now maybe we're starting to see this here where we're delaying the inevitable of him to win this title. We've got 10 points now. Realistically, it's only, we'll call it the top 4 that are in title contention at this point. We're only halfway. That was number 8 of 17 here, so we're basically halfway. But this might be the start to the end of this title fight here. The second half of this season may be a lot more boring than the first half was. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Outside of that, Chase, obviously, his hand is getting better. He rode better today, fastest qualifier, all of that stuff. Eli obviously rode really well, frying that clutch. Said he didn't look at his pit board the whole time. No surprise there. But again, it just wasn't beast mode Eli that we saw last week. And then when he's talking about not doing that quad and just going for it more, Eli's 30-something years old now, 31, and with 3 kids. This is what happens when you get to that age. You start thinking about things more. I'm on a much lesser level with different things that I do on a motorcycle, whether it's a dirt bike or a street bike. But there's a lot more thought that goes into things now for me than what it did when I was when I was 20. When I was 20, nothing mattered. So if any of you think that that's not the case, then you're crazy. But anyway, needless to say, that was the rundown of the top 3. Cooper Webb kind of didn't do Cooper Webb things tonight. I mean, I know he ended up, I think it was 4th at the end there. But that was really kind of pulling through and getting lucky. Kenny had an amazing heat race, but then in the main was just kind of, there just wasn't anything there. It was really I was happy that the track was actually raceable, but at the same time, it was so wet that it was still just dragging people down and causing issues, and basically turned into survival of the fittest. So anyway, yeah, as far as 450s go there, like I said, we've basically, we're down now. We've gone from 7 riders, so we had this much, to now we're down here where we've only got the top 4. And Eli with 16 point gap is right on that precipice of, if he has another bad race and Jett wins one and he drops another 5-6 points here, he's going to be out of it also. So we'll have to wait and see what Alabama brings next weekend. Hopefully some dry track conditions. That would be awesome. But yeah, it's starting to, death by 1,000 cuts here is starting to take shape here really, really quickly, and I think the mistakes are going to kind of be limited. One thing I am disappointed about, though, Jett started to get very robotic with his interviews here, and I think part of that is the spotlight being on him. And because it's on him, and I'll talk about this in the main show too, probably at more length, because the spotlight's on him and he doesn't like being the bad guy or the guy that people don't like. Those interviews tonight were all very dry, very straightforward and to the point, and I sent out some text that said this could become a very long decade if that's how it works. If he gets back to being that happy-go-lucky kid and doing fun interviews and things like that, okay, great, then this is fine. But if they suck the life out of him because of people being idiots on the internet, that sucks. That sucks. The other thing that sucks, I just want to put this out here. If anybody knows who that asshole is who was pulling Jett's goggles off while he was doing the burnout, I would really like to know, because I'm going to go absolutely destroy that guy. That was such a dickhead move. You're a douchebag. And trust me, if I see you, it's going to be, you're going to know my feelings about you, because that was such a fuck move. To take the goggles off the guy, literally take them off. Like, he's going to take them off and throw them anyway, but you're just going to reach over and grab him off his helmet while he's doing his burnout. I mean, dude, if I'm Jett, me and that dude would have been rolling on the ground fighting. Fuck you. So, for that guy, fuck you. And if anybody knows who he is, please let me know, because I'd love to go on his social media and give him a real piece of my mind. But we'll see. It's whatever. So, anyway, moving on. 250 class. That one's the 250 East class is still up in the air here. Deegan actually had a decent day for how it started with that crash in practice. That 360 in the race was crazy, that he actually had the mindfulness to pull that off. I don't know, man. It's I think Anstey made a pass at the end there, if I remember correctly. And again, this is literally off the cuff. No real. So he maintains the points lead by 1 point over like second and third. And then I believe like Deegan or somebody else is in fourth. The top 7 there are all within 5 points, I believe. So what a wild East Coast here. We'll see once we get through the next couple how it kind of levels out here. I really thought Deegan was going to have something that race, and he didn't, which was really weird. Even his dad said he kind of didn't have his edge, which, I mean, if I go ejectocito off of a triple and pull that off without getting hurt, I mean, I'm probably going to lose my edge for the day also. So that's no surprise there. Max just got a shitty start in the main. That happens. And again, they couldn't get the tire changed fast enough there, and that it was almost disaster for him too. But a shitty start, and he came back and like worked his way back, but just was just kind of bleh there in the main. And again, a lot of those kids were just surviving. McAdoo rode really well. Hammaker rode really well. But again, they're like Faulkner. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know, Jeremy Martin, small tip over in the heat, looked pretty good, and then in the main must have just crashed and was just in the back the entire main. So the 250 is still up for grabs here. I think it will level out as we go, maybe 1 or 2 more races in here. I think by the time we get through Indy, we'll really have a good idea of who the contenders are there. The 450s are starting to be that way. And yeah, and I mean, it was just another muddy, soppy, wet 450 race, period. So, in the main show tomorrow, we'll talk about futures. Again, we'll get more in depth on the Tomac ride and everything like that. I just wanted to give my immediate reaction here as per normal. So, like I always say, make sure to comment below your thoughts here. Did Jett cage the beast? Did Deegan choke this week here after winning his first one last week? Who do you think is going to win the 250 East? Is this the beginning of the end for the 450s as far as that points championship goes? Make sure to tell us what you think down below. And we'll be back with the main show on Tuesday to break it all down and talk all sorts of other things that I have on the list. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you later.